All right, this video is going to be a 200 no limit play and explain on Bovada. I did one at 500, and I was given some good feedback, and people said they wanted to see more. So we'll give this a go. Unfortunately, there's only about 25 people in the pool right now. Would prefer to just play six-handed, but this will do for now. Gonna be folding the ace jack. Don't really feel too strongly. I think you could 4-bet, but I'm just going to fold. Opening deuces in the small blind. See a shorter stack cold call in the small blind, and we take a flop of Jack 5-10 rainbow. This is a flop we want to be betting big on. Double Broadway boards are just good for our range overall. And I'll size down a little bit just because this player is a little shorter. I think I would just be doing like B75, but I just want to make a slight adjustment. Don't think it matters that much. 3-betting aces, obviously, on the left. And look down a pretty hand on the right as well. So opening king, queen of spades. Our opponent calls, and we see a really good flop for our range and a really good flop for our exact hand. We're going to start out by betting 33. We see a pretty large 3-bet. We will be calling, but I'm super thrown off by those larger 3-bets. We see a raise here. I'm just going to proceed with a call. I really don't think this is a super dry board, and I'm not really sure what our opponent could be bluffing with. Everything being considered, like that, I couldn't think of a better turn card realistically, just because it eliminates, like, our opponent has fives, I think, almost pure. I'm going to be betting half here. And then over here, we face a double barrel, and I think we just want to be jamming. Like, we can deny equity for some flush draws, and we can, we just don't want to. There's a lot of scary rivers. I really, in all honesty, I kind of just don't have enough time. Like, I was just in two big spots there. So I don't know. Like, we have, like, our opponent, when sizing up on that turn, just has so many equity driven bluffs that are going to call off the jam, and we just don't. We would just rather, it's harder to realize our equity since we're out of position. So, we see, like, a really favorable turn card, and I think, like, the money just has to go in, because we have bad clarity on rivers, and if our opponent's behind, we want them to get the money in, because people, there's a chance he's not firing the river with missed clubs or, miss other bluffs. That being said, I don't think that I'm always playing that line. I'm probably mostly playing check call, but I just, kind of didn't really know what to do. Yeah. Folding the threes, blind versus blind, and checking back the ace-8 off. Button versus big blind. I don't think there's a world in which I ever have the second best hand here. And then on this river, I think we just bet something like this and then hope to get called. Not really sure what we're targeting here, but we have three of a kind, and that's a good hand. And we want to get value from the random stuff our opponent may have. Our opponent calls with jacks, so fair call. We get walked with the aces, which is a bit unfortunate. But what are you going to do? Good 3-bet this. I'm going to. And we just are getting slapped in the face by the deck as we pick up aces for the third time. Please don't walk. And of course, we don't get any action, which is really kind of tilting because you can go, 500 hands without getting aces, and just annoying to be walked twice in a row. Um, 10-9 off is close. I actually don't really know what to do with this hand. I'm just going to fold. But I think maybe 10-9 off is a call. I don't know about versus 2.5x, but I'm sure it's a call at some frequency. Pick up aces for the fourth time in 50 hands, and of course, no action, but it's all right. We can make money with other hands besides aces. It's all good. A little bit crazy though. I don't think I've ever gotten aces that many times in 61 hands. I shouldn't have folded that. I believe 9-6 suited is like almost always a raise in the small blind. I think I'm getting a little bit too fold happy here. In this zone format, tends to play at the proclivity towards impatience, I guess. I see another huge 3-bet. Not really going to be doing anything with ace jack off. I don't know what this is. I just see a lot of people going insanely large in position, and I actually think it's really bad. I think it's just really bad. I don't know why you're going 8.5 over 2.5x from early gun. Don't do that if you're watching this. Because you just he's narrowing my range down to really strong hands. I'm doing a lot less flatting to that size. A lot less, and I'm doing a lot more 4-betting. So if you're 3-betting a non-polar range, which you should be from the button and the cutoff, it's just it's such a bad size because you're not polar. I don't know, whatever. It's probably not it's probably just someone that has a good hand and they're sizing up. But I see it a lot, and it just it's really easy to play against because you just fold your bad hands and you 4-bet your good ones. Jack 8's probably a little bit too optimistic. I would definitely 3-bet Jack 9, but don't want to be getting too aggro. It's kind of a joke at this point, but pick up aces again. Slightly deeper. Do I want to go big? No, I think I'm just gonna stick to sec. Like this is obviously like I just got over saying how people threw it large, but we're slightly deeper, so we see the 4-bet. I think we just want to be flatting. Our opponent. This is not that wide of a 4-bet. Good flop, all things considered. Our opponent definitely has sets pure on this board. With a heart, I think this is just a call. And then obviously, pretty decent turn. With the ace of hearts, not really much to worry about here. I don't really know what to do in this river. I think something like this is fine. I just timed out, and I just don't really want to have the river go check against I just think that it's just so he's so weighted towards either air or a showdown value. Oh my god, I actually hate that size. I have 15 seconds and I panic and I just B66, B75, and that's just a really bad bet. Just because when he takes that line of checking back, bet quarter on flop, check back, it's either a really iffy bluff catcher or versus 2.5. I'm gonna raise this, but this isn't always a raise, I don't think. I just think that we need to be betting a third or 40% to target his bluff catching region. I think that bet really doesn't accomplish much at all. Our opponent's gonna have a lot of our opponent's gonna we have this board is better for us realistically, but don't expect many folds from our opponent, even though he is a big size. So I just think that out of position we don't want to really be checking. Don't really think he's folding 9s, 10s, 8s. Probably folds 6s now, but we can target those on the river with a big bet. And then when the river is a 9, not really sure what to do here. I'm not going to bet. I don't think we can always bluff this hand. He has 4s, which sucks because it's a hand that we definitely could beat if we put another bet. I think I definitely got a little bit scared there. Definitely should be betting the river just when our opponent's continuing. Obviously our opponent's continuing 4s there. Not the ideal run out though. So we ISO here with King 7. I think that this would be a good small bet on this flop. Folding the King 10 off. We get called. We turn the gut shot. I think we can put in another. I don't like having clubs to bet again, but I mean the other solution is we just get there, and then now we get to take a really fun line against a weaker opponent. I don't really know what my sizing should be here, but I guess something like that is fine. Don't really expect him to ever call a river. After it goes check on the turn and he bets a third. I just don't think that any hand he's betting a third with is just going to call that raise. But we had a straight, so we raised. Pretty standard. Kind of annoyed at myself for not betting that ace queen off. Because I just think that if I'm big betting flop and just never continuing, it's just a terrible. I'm just losing so much money when I'm not following through with the second barrel. I think it's just I think it's a good versus that range where it's a min open. They call the 3-bet. I think it's like very like middling pocket pair weighted, but he also has some like 10-9s, 9-8s, and like stuff that like rivers a pair. First 3x's is probably a fold just because ace 6 off is such a bad hand. Oh, we are slightly deeper here, and I kind of do like entertaining. I do. I'm gonna call this. This is no, I'm not. It's a polar range. I'm not gonna continue. I don't know. Jack 9 versus like small blind 3-bet. It's just like I don't know. I don't like continuing when I face like a raise from the small blind or big blind, just because like people tend to like a lot of the weaker players just like flat like medium strength hands in the small blind, in this pool at least. So it's just like I just get a little bit suspicious when they start raising, just because I see so much flatting from that position. It's actually kind of weird. 9-7 off. I don't think this is a call. I think 9-8 off is probably a call. And then king 5. Probably just gonna pitch this one too. Face a smaller 3-bet from the small line. So I think we're going to get a little out of line here. Or not out of line, but we'll get a little bit fancy with the ace 8. Why not? It's facing a smaller 3-bet. Getting dealt queen in the big blind. We'll be raising, unfortunate for our player 6 over here. We'll be putting the raise. You can go. I think this opponent started 94 effective, so you can go a little smaller if he started like say like 85, but I think like 4x is still okay. Queens with spade can bet half. Really like having a spade. Makes less turns or spade turns less dicey. Obviously still dicey, but less so. Jack of diamonds is probably a pure check with this hand. We block some bluffs for sure. And I think this is probably just I was about to say it was a check jam. But that's like an awful river. And I think we just go super small and fold to a raise. But I guess we get called by worse. I was not expecting that. Our opponent just calls with ace 9. So I guess like our bet actually is perfect, considering that it somehow got paid off by worse hand on that board. I don't know if that's good or not. I just like really didn't want to check. I don't know. I feel like people are not like bluff raising versus block. Like that's just like not a line I face like pretty much ever, which is weird. Just because you'd expect a board like that is like probably one of the best to put in a bluff on. Opening 9-8 off, blind versus blind. Folding the 3-bet. Gonna be 3-betting the 9-8 suited. And we get aces again. Not tired of seeing them. Poker is easy when these are the hands that you're dealt. That's for sure. This 30 big blind stack, 3-bets to an obscene size. I guess we just put it in. Has king, queen. No 10. We hold. Nice. Easy game. Easy game. It's kind of annoying when I like sit down to make one of these videos and I just like sun run. Like, I mean, we've played like 170 hands and we're up a buy-in and a half, which is like kind of annoying. Just because I feel like the spots that we're getting into are just like super standard, and you know, I'm not offering anything like insane in terms of like gameplay or whatever, but yeah. Queen of diamonds, jack of diamonds in the hijack. Pretty hand. We'll be continuing. See a 3-bet from the button. Think that this is just always a call. See an extremely large 3-bet over here. Not going to be continuing the ace-10 off. Good start. Flop top pair. Two-tone board. Face a third. Don't think we have any choice but to call with this exact hand. Unless we think our opponent's getting really out of line, but don't think we have anything but a call. Obviously not our favorite turn card, but definitely be calling another bet. And our opponent decides to check back. I am just going to go for check call, I think, but gives up. Maybe you can consider blocking the turn, blocking the river and just like really targeting like 10s and 9s. But our opponent can still have value. Like, our opponent can easily still have value, so. Looks like he gave up with the ace-queen off. Guess we're both scared money with the ace-queen off. Slightly deeper here versus this big blind player. Just going to call the jack-10 suited. Pretty abysmal board for our exact hand. I don't really know what to do here because like we have such nice backdoors, but like I think if it's like 9-5-4 rainbow with a 9 of hearts, like we continue. But like with the paired board, I just don't think that we're going to be continuing. Definitely would have continued if the board is impaired, but like we have like less than flat odds, and like especially when we're deeper, we want to be careful about like we want to be careful about what we are continuing with because some of our outs are just dead, and like even like turn cards that bring us equity like could just be disastrous for us. Gonna be three betting the king six suited blind versus blind, and just sizing up because like I actually don't know why I sized up. I like to go 10 because it adds some fold equity, I guess. But we see a call, and we get a pretty good start, honestly. 10s here, slightly deeper, gonna be three betting. I'm gonna go 25 here. I think we can also check, and this is actually a really good hand to check, and I actually kind of wish that I checked, just because. Yeah, bad turn. Definitely bad turn. But I'm gonna go for check call on the river. Good river card though. I don't. Yeah. So versus check, we have kind of like an interesting spot. I think we can still get called by worse. I think we can. I think this is okay. I think we can get called by worse. It's a really loose formation, but we absolutely end up that. See, that's like not. That's like so tilting. It's so tilting to see that, just because like we just absolutely value owned ourselves. Um, oh, that's so annoying. I'm so mad at myself. Like maybe we just don't get called. I mean, yes, we do. We get called by like nines and eights with a club. We get called by tens that don't four bet. I don't know, 7x calls. That's just so tilting that we just absolutely like took ourselves to town there. Checking back with the ace nine off. There's some rivers where we can get creative on. But that one is probably just going to be a bet. Queen seven deuce is a board that is better for me than the big blind. The big blind's going to have a lot of trash, so should be able to take it down with a small bet on a board like that. Nothing to do but fold once we get raised. I may get some shit for this in the comments, but the reason that I just like sat out and bought back in is just like, it's not that I'm scared of playing deep. It's just like I study like 100 big blind six max cash ranges, and like I am not as studied like at deeper stack depths, and like I just like I feel very familiar. We're gonna overbet this flop. I feel very familiar with my strategy at 100 big blinds, and I just think that like once we're playing like 200 effective, it just gets a little bit dicey, and I'm just not sure how to play a bunch of spots. Basically, like I just like when the pots get really big and I'm like not sure what ranges look like, I just don't feel like I'm playing with like I'm playing at a disadvantage, basically. Like when we're playing super deep stacked, and like I think there's players that can like take advantage of the fact that people don't know deep stack, and use that to their advantage. So like the way that I think I garner the most EV is by playing 100 big blinds up to, I'll sit out like once I have 180 or so. Fours can probably go. Fours is probably indifferent. I would call if it was button versus small blind, but not small blind versus cutoff. Gonna be three betting the queen nine off. Just like I like to use like some of these bottom of the range calls as three bets, which I'm pretty sure is correct. See the call. Pretty decent start. We can get pretty creative on these boards. Don't really know what I like doing here, but we face a really weird small bet. And I'm just gonna call. This is really weird. I really don't know what to do facing that donk. I think that like this is a really good board to donk, but it was a really small bet, and just didn't expect to see that. Okay, this just seems like he's trying to set his own price here, and I am just gonna call. No reason in raising, I don't think. Shouldn't have too much ace-x, and I think like as played, I probably will be calling the river. Getting 3-bet over here, flowing the ace-10, just because we're in a spot. Pretty easy check back. Don't really think we're getting anything better to anything worse to call. And he's just had Jack-9. That's probably just a weaker player, but like when I saw the donk, I mean obviously it was like too small, but I was like, oh, like I actually really like that play. Picking up 10-10 under the gun, and ace-jack under the gun. See a pretty like an amazing board for the big blind here, so it's probably just like check and evaluate turn. I think our hand is like a little bit too strong to start betting, just like in terms of our properties for showdown. I think that we just try to show down the ace-jack once we arrive at the river in this way. It's a good bet from our opponent just because like we're so capped given our line, and like he's allowed to do this with like basically almost every hand in his range. I like the overbet on the river. Just put like even like my my third pairs that like are just trying to get to showdown are like in a really awful spot facing that bet, but ace-high is definitely like okay to let go. But that is a good bet because it targets like obviously I have so much air in my range, but like I also have like a decent amount of like showdown value that just like wants to get to the river cheaply. So I actually really like that overbet. Tempted to 4-bet this, but we roll really passive. But I really do want to 4-bet that. We will be 3-betting the 8s though, to make up for us being a coward with the AQO. I think King-9 off is probably an open on the button. We face a 4-bet. I think this is a call. Obviously really don't like it, and we're obviously in like a really bad spot, but we are going to continue, and we're just going to flop a set. That is the next best thing besides flopping a set. Is the next best thing. And this is just really, really the worst thing ever. I'm gonna admit, like, I really don't know what to do here, but like we're just gonna go with this. Like we have a gut shot, and we're just, obviously we don't like that. But kind of, I don't know if we ran bad or good there. I guess we ran good. That was a little bit. That was, yeah, I guess, I mean, he's betting half pot with kings, which is like, I think is really a bad bet. But like when we flop the gut shot, here we're going to bet 75. There's just too much going on right now. at once. Going a little bit bigger here because he's deeper. Like we're deeper. With the 8, that is actually like awful. Like because that's I see that half pot size and I'm like, this guy's just full of it. But like if people are betting, I just like don't face it that bet size so much. And like in like such a loose formation when I flop I flop an overpair and a gut shot, and like I'm not gonna just call, and like it just seems like a little bit fishy. But obviously like that player is just betting half pot with like the strongest hands in their range as well, which I think that like my jam with 8s there is really bad. Obviously like, we get super lucky to chop. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say on that. I think that was just like a really bad jam. I think it's a really bad jam if our opponent is betting 50% with kings, because I don't expect like that hand to bet that size. So I think our opponent definitely outplayed us there and got us to put the money in, like drawing really thin. But even so, I'm gonna start out with a small bet. I like to start out with bets on like monotone boards when I like miss, because like on like 4 flush runouts I can still have some bluffs. Like I mean, literally case in point. Like now that I bet, I can like keep betting and like have bluffs in my range on like these types of runouts, just because I think like a bet line on monotone boards is like gets like credit often. I think. I hope. And then now, obviously, I think now we just like rep it like really hard, and obviously get dunked on when our opponent is just slow playing. But like this is a good. I think we do need to have some bluffs, right? So I'm gonna bet here on this board. Really interesting call from our opponent. I guess like we just get no credit there because we get heroed by top 2, which is really bad. That's really bad. Not gonna lie. Do not like seeing that we can't fold no club hands. Really don't like seeing that. And like, oh my god, it's so tilting. And like, it's even more tilting when like I get into a spot here and I'm freaking 75 effective. Oh, it's so tilting. And then like I think we just get it in on this flop. I don't know. What do I bet? I think half is fine when we get check 2. Maybe a third. I don't know. I'm like shallow here. Get min raised. Not really sure what this is, but I'm just gonna go with it. Like I started like 75 effective, and if we're like coolered, then we're coolered. Of course we are. I mean, I was just complaining about. Not being able to top up, and then I just get stacked. So it's definitely interesting. I just think that, like, even though I'm shallow, like that's like a really, I just like that's like a really bad jam too. Honestly, I think I got a little bit sloppy there on that 10s hand. I think that like once I get min raised on like such a dry flop, like it just. Or just they're like screaming that they have an overpair, and I just like am too much of a donkey to like really think about the situation. Usually this is a fold, but like okay, I was about to say like I'm gonna peel the 3-bet with 5s just because like we're deeper. But obviously once we get 4-bet, we're getting out of there. Flop top pair. Easy continue. Our opponent has tons of bluffs. Pretty clear check call again versus 66%. And then this is just like a river that we're like happy to call down with, or happy to call down on. We lose to ace queen.